Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Gallery Theater Presents, where we give you a sneak peek at what is coming up next at our local community theater, located right off of Ford Street, Gallery Theater. Joining me today are two friends who are very actively involved in our next show, which is Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I am joined by Katrina Godderz, who is directing, and Joseph Cannon, who is playing Caractacus Potts. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Katrina, we'll start with you.
Yeah.
What brought this show to Gallery Theater?
Well, it's a show that I've known and I've loved since I was a child. I probably saw it for the first time, the movie version, back when I was maybe 7. It was one of those movies that was in that sort of Disney and para-Disney pantheon of like fantastical movies of the 1960s. And so I saw it as a child and I loved it. I loved it's weird, it's a little sinister, it's got magic, it's got all kinds of fun stuff, and a flying car. And so when the Gallery Theater Season Proposal Committee came to me and said, we were interested in having you direct our holiday season show for 2024. Do you have any thoughts, or do you want to think about what you might want to do? Within about 4 seconds, the show Chitty Chitty Bang Bang came to mind. It's not something we've done before at the Gallery Theater, and it's a show that I love. I know I would love to stage, and so it was a pretty obvious choice, and it all worked out ever since. So it's a great show, and it fit all the criteria of being family friendly, fun, having children in the show, which is a priority for us in the holiday program. And here we are.
Very nice. And Joseph, were you familiar with the show at all going into it?
Yes, I grew up seeing the movie, I don't know when first, but I've seen the movie a number of times. I was in a production of this in Canby, Canby Community Theater they do during the summer, almost 10 years ago. So it was a while ago, and it was kind of my first big theater show that I did after high school. I was taking a little break, and then I'm like, I want to do theater again. And so my sisters were going to do it, and so I tagged along. I ended up playing the child catcher, which was a lot of fun, and then as things went on, then there was a chance where I missed out on an opportunity to play Dick Van Dyke's role in Mary Poppins, Bert, and so that I've always been holding on to that. And then when I heard we were going to do Chitty and Katrina's directing, I'm like, I love Chitty. I already kind of know the show, and I've always wanted to get my chance to play a Dick Van Dyke character, so I was very excited about the opportunity, and then actually got cast as Caractacus Potts, who Dick Van Dyke played in the movie. So yes, I was in a production of it. I was pretty familiar with it, and very excited to do it again in a different capacity.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So, for those of us that are, I remember seeing it as a kid, but, many people may have not, especially a younger generation might not know this show.
True.
What is Chitty Chitty Bang Bang about?
Well, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is a car. The actual name Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is a car, which is because it makes the sound chitty, 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 and then it backfires and says, bang, bang. So the title of the show comes from the name of the magic car that's in the show. But it's really about Caractacus, and he has 2 children.
It's really about, like, I was even thinking about it, it's like Caractacus is the lead, or like the first one listed, like character-wise, but it's one where it's about the family, really, and like obviously he's a driving force, being the single father of these 2 kids that he takes everywhere, but it's about a family. And then you can talk on it as well, but like a lot of the show seems to especially go from the kids' imagination, and like that's part of, well, that's at least how I interpret it, so it's very fantastical, and it's not, a lot of it is not in the world of realistic.
No.
But it's fun.
In the movie, they definitely lean harder into essentially a lot of the movie being a dream sequence, kind of. In the imagination, in the musical version, which is a little bit more condensed, they don't really lean as heavily into that motif. But it's this father and his 2 children, and then they have Grandpa, which is their grandfather, the father's dad. And he schemes a way to get the money to buy this old vintage car, which then he fixes up into this magical car, and they take this marvelous adventure. But of course, the bad guy, who's the Baron Bomburst from Bulgaria, finds out about this magic car, and he wants the car. So he sends his spies to go and catch capture the car and capture the inventors and the person who invented the car. And then so the struggle is, the Baron's trying to get the car, and the Potts family, I don't want to give anything away, but they don't want to be caught. And then of course the Baron's evil, and his wife doesn't like children, so they imprison all the children of Bulgaria down in a dungeon down below in the sewers. And so there's a little bit of action with like the kids in the sewers, and in the end, of course, it's a wonderful family show, so fabulousness happens. But I don't want to give away the entire plot, but that's a lot of it. So there's the roles of the two spies, which are really fun, just goofy characters having a really good time, and kind of Mr. Magoo style, not always getting to where they aim to go in the way that they meant to get there. So
kind of adding a comedy of errors type thing, where it's like, they have a mission, they fail at it, it's humorous, and it drives the plot along.
Yes.
So it's
Yeah.
Little hapless criminals.
And of course, there has to always be a love story element. And it's a sort of a side element, but he meets Truly Scrumptious, which is, of course, a Bond girl name if ever there was one. And this is an Ian Fleming story. And, of course, there's a little spark that flies between Caractacus and Truly, who is the daughter of Lord Scrumptious, who owns a big candy factory. And so she comes along on the adventure with them and kind of aids them, and then sparks fly. So it's cute. It's cute.
There's quite a bit packed into this show.
There is a lot.
got some romance, got some adventure, got some kooky characters.
Oh yeah, we got some creepy characters like the child catcher, which is supposed to be that kind of frisson of like, ooh, a little bit dangerous, but you kind of like him anyway. You're rooting for it, but like still the bad guy. So yeah, It's been really brilliant.
How's the rehearsal process been going?
It's been
really good.
Yeah. We've been going along. It's been very smooth. One thing that I've commented about, which I've worked with Katrina before, Pride and Prejudice, which was a much shorter rehearsal period. I feel like we had to finish all the rehearsals and stuff in like a month and a half or something.
Yeah, I think it was 6 weeks.
So this, we have the full rehearsal period, but it's paced out well. Everyone's really on board with each rehearsal. It's very structured, and it's fun. The whole production team around Katrina is very big of people who are passionate and are actively working constantly, which is exciting to see, because that does help for, there's times with the cast, like as we're learning it, we're like, oh, we learned something new, we're moving forward. It's not hectic, and part of it gives us confidence in that is because we know there's so much going on behind the scenes that things are one step ahead of the cast.
Well, we had our first run through of Act 2 last night. So we had our we're over 4 weeks ahead of time, and we had our first run through of Act 2, which, as a first run through always is, a little start and stoppy.
Sure.
But we did it in 2 hours, which is really good, and everybody was there. I'm really pleased with our youth ensemble. We have a great group of kids. They're super on it. They know what they're doing. They're really enthusiastic about their parts, and it's really nice to see that sort of them taking responsibility for the scenes and the parts that they're a part of, and the props they have to have, and where they're going to be. And I'm really pleased to have the group of youth that we have in the show. So it's really lovely. And I have a great team. I have Reese Madden as my assistant director, and Debbie Harmon Ferry and Joseph Hunter is our stage manager and assistant stage manager. Allison Cannon is doing our music direction, because our original music direction was Kyle Ward, but we very sadly lost him to the state of California.
Oh.
And so Allison Cannon took over to help us with the rest of the production. And then we just have a whole group of people, Tanya Nichols doing our costuming, leading our costume team, I should say, of 5 people, which includes myself, because there's over 200 costumes in this show, some of which are quite elaborate. So it's a big, big, big production.
No kidding.
We are not messing around.
And so you've got a huge team behind you. How large is the cast?
The cast is, I believe it's 36 people.
Okay.
There's 11 youth ensemble. I think there's 11 or 12 adult ensemble, and then there's like 12 or 13 principals. I should know those numbers, but yeah, about 36 people when I finally counted everybody. So.
And the age groups for the children's ensemble, are we talking little like?
We have a 5-year-old. We have a 5-year-old.
You have a 5-year-old. Okay.
And he's great. He's absolutely adorable. He's doing phenomenal. And then we have up to a few teenagers, and then we have, for the youngest in the adult ensemble, I think is 18, and then up to probably 70s. So we have a really, really wide range of people. Yeah, we have some families. We have some parent-children groups too, as well. So we have, I think there's 3 or 4 people who are parents, and then their child or children are in the show as well, which is really fun to have that.
So it's a good family show, and it's a family show.
And it's a family show, yes, yeah.
Right.
I would say definitely age appropriate for anybody 5 and older. Under that is probably just because attention spans of 4-year-olds is a really tough thing. But there's certainly nothing inappropriate in it, and it's fun for the kids to be a part of, and just a good night for the family to come out and see some theater.
That's great. So you mentioned the car.
Oh, yes.
So tell us a little bit about the car. How is that coming about?
Well, a lot of people know Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. The car is very strong and very emblematic, and there's the classic car, which actually I just recently learned is owned, the original Chitty Chitty Bang Bang car from the movie is owned by Peter Jackson, who's a big car collector. I did not get a chance to write to Peter himself to ask if we can borrow that car, but I do have 2 people on our team, which is Derek Moore and Ben Lapp, who are big gallery folks. And they are building us, even as we sit here and speak right now, they are in Sherwood building us a custom Chitty Chitty Bang Bang car. So with a motor, with brakes, with steering, with wood paneling, maybe with a windshield. If Derek gets his way, we'll see what happens. I've given them kind of carte blanche. I said, make it fun, make it stylistic, and they are having a lot of fun doing it. So we will have a Chitty Chitty that is very unusual to what you expect. A similar feel, very open top and a fun, fantastical car, but not the Chitty that you've seen in previous productions. Yes.
I'm curious how, I imagine when it's time to bring Chitty Chitty Bang Bang to McMinnville, I'm kind of seeing, for some of us that have been here for a long time, I'm kind of seeing a Spruce Goose type procession.
Yes.
We're going to close the whole highway down and drive it from Sherwood to McMinnville.
Oh,
let's make that happen.
Let's see, how fast will it go? We pull it out of the truck and just drive it down 3rd Street.
Well, it has a golf cart motor, so probably 10, 15 miles per hour, I think. Just a little putt along.
On 3rd Street.
And the reason that we did that, one of the reasons I wanted to have a different Chitty Chitty Bang Bang vehicle is because the original show was very sort of 1920s, almost vaudevillian in its styling. 1910s, 20s. It's got that very primary colors, a lot of jodhpurs and stuff like that. And our show is not. So when I wanted to direct it, I knew I wanted to do it very differently. And one of the original ideas I had discussing with people was to do it in a steampunk style. And it's not high steampunk, but there is a definite steampunk vibe going on. And I wanted the car to match that. And I didn't want the original sort of old school 1910s looking car. I wanted something that was a little funkier, a little punkier, that would fit in with the style of the show. And fortunately, I had some people on the team who are willing to do it. So yeah, this is not the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang that you will expect to see.
Nice. So your car and your costuming
Yes.
and your set are all going to be kind of in that steampunk.
Yes. Kind of think about steampunk meets the Capitol from Hunger Games.
Okay.
So a lot of just fantastical things. I've told the cast, if this is something that you could wear in public and not feel a little bit out of place in, then it's probably not going to be on our stage. It needs to be something that when you wear it, you're like, I am the most interesting person in the room. This is the most fantastical outfit. This is wild and crazy and definitely has an otherworldly, punky, funky vibe to it. So we have a lot of that feel in our show. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we know Joseph, who we've seen in several wonderful things. I mean, we first saw you at Beauty and the Beast at Gallery, I think it was. Puffs, Pride and Prejudice. I mean, your role in Puffs was hilarious. I just
Thank you.
You killed that thing.
I know.
Who are some of the other cast members that we're looking at here?
Well, we have a lot of new people, first of all. There's a lot of, I think, about a third of our cast of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is completely new to the Gallery Theater, including one of our 2 child leads, Peyton Russ, who plays Jemima, one of the 2 children, Caractacus's children. Harper Smith is Jeremy, and he was previously seen in Matilda. I think he was the role of Nigel in Matilda. Carolyn Aicher, who was in Into the Woods, she was in Mamma Mia. Was she most recently? I think those are the 2 that immediately comes to mind. She is our Truly Scrumptious. So she plays opposite Joseph as Truly Scrumptious. Derek Moore is Grandpa Potts. Let's see, Soren Smithrud, who was also in Puffs, and played Romeo most recently in Romeo and Juliet, is one of our spies. And he is paired up with Thomas Millage, who is another spy. And Thomas is one of the new people to the Gallery Theater we've not yet seen before. I'm trying to think of some of the others.
You have Richard playing...
Rich Pratt is Lord Scrumptious.
Lord Scrumptious.
Charity Livingston, who hasn't been on the gallery stage in 10 years, I think, but is our current board president of the Gallery Theater. It plays the Baroness, Bomburst. And Dave Ferry, who was most recently seen in Christmas Carol, I believe.
Correct.
He is our Baron. So we have some people who haven't been on stage in a while, and we have a lot of people in the show who've either been in gallery productions, but they haven't had any big feature roles. So people who've done some things, but like, for example, Carolyn, who has been on multiple productions, but is now one of our leads. And I love giving people the opportunity to have the chance to really kind of pull out all the stops and be the big actress that they can be. So
that's great.
Yeah.
And the child catcher we mentioned a couple times is Beck Hasel.
Beck Hasel, yes.
Which is going to be fantastic.
Yes. Yeah. Beck is, she's got the moves.
Yeah.
She's got the moves. So just a really great group of people. I should have, and Karen Olsen is our toy maker.
Okay.
So the sort of leader of the resistance of Bulgaria. So
Bulgaria. That
Bulgaria.
describes you.
I know. Ian Fleming was so clever. I mean, he's invented the whole James Bond thing. He was so clever with the words and coming up with these phrases like Bulgaria and truly scrumptious. It's just like what fun wordplay is that?
Yeah. And this is a musical.
Yes, it is.
So I think you were talking. There are some slight differences in the movie versus the stage show we're going to see, but not much.
Not much, and there are more songs in the musical in what we're doing than in the movie version. There's a few that are not in the movie, like the Bombi Samba, for example.
Yeah, and I don't think the Spies got a
Oh,
song
Act
in the
English,
movie.
that's true.
Yeah.
So there's a few more, but all the songs that you know and love from the movie are in the musical as well.
Right.
So, yeah.
So what's your favorite number in the show? How about you, Joseph?
Dancing wise, Old Bamboo is a fun dance number, and I enjoy doing Teamwork, which is a song that I sing with all the kids. All the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang renditions.
There are many.
There are like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Yes. And we have Kathleen Vanderveer as the choreographer for this.
Awesome.
And I don't know whether she loves or hates our cast because she has given them difficult dances.
Yeah.
And they practiced last night after rehearsal. People are serious about getting these moves, but I told Kathleen, I was like, Kathleen, what are you doing? Because she has really set challenges for our dancers in the show and done some beautiful choreography that is going to be wicked impressive.
Wow.
And the actors are taking it very seriously. It's super fun to watch them grow and get it more and more and more, and they are some tough dance moves.
Wow.
Really tough dance moves. So, but we have Kathleen, and she's the best. So.
Sure. What is the runtime of the show? How long is it? Is it a 2-act?
It's a 2-act. Second act is a bit shorter than the first.
Yeah.
I want to say it's maybe just a smidge over 2 hours. I don't think it's too long. We haven't actually timed it out yet,
Sure. Yeah.
but that's what I understand it to be. So 2 hours, 2:15.
So we're looking to get tickets.
I hope so.
Where do we get tickets?
Well, you have 2 options. You can come to the Gallery Theater box office, which is in the Gallery Theater, 210 Northeast Ford Street, and that's open from 10 to 2 Monday through Friday. It's a volunteer-run box office. Say hello to the lovely ladies who run it. They're wonderful. Or you can.
You can also go to the website, gallerytheater.org. I believe is the URL, and you can from there buy tickets for the big theater, which this one is in. You can even pick out your specific seats. If there's a particular day that you can go, definitely get there early.
Especially matinees. At the Gallery Theater, we tend to sell matinees out sooner than we sell evening shows. So if you are a matinee audience member, you're going to want to get your tickets as soon as you see this interview, because otherwise you might not get matinee tickets.
Yes, and the shows are always Friday and Saturday evenings at 7:30. Right, and then the matinees are on Sunday, 2 o'clock.
And the dates of the show are November 22nd through December 15th.
Correct.
So 4 full weekends, I believe. Right around the holiday time. 12 performances, I believe, in the main stage, the big stage. I don't know how you could contain this kind of energy.
You don't have to have a Matchbox car for shit. It's interesting to stage a show in which you have to have a car that drives around on stage and fits 4 people inside it. That takes some doing to design a set around that kind of prop. as it were.
Right.
So
make sure to get your tickets as soon as you can, because like we're saying, a lot of these shows, especially holiday shows, tend to sell out pretty quick.
Yeah.
So snag those tickets right away. Katrina, thank you very much for joining me. Joseph, thank you. I wish you the best of luck. Break tons of legs and have a lot of fun. Really looking forward to seeing this one.
thank you so much.
And I want to thank, first and foremost, I want to thank the cast, the crews, the builders, the musicians, everyone that has to do with everything we do at our local community theater. We absolutely could not do it without all of our volunteers. We're a volunteer community, and it's such a wonderful community of volunteers we have. So thank everyone who brings live local theater to Yamhill County. But most of all, thank you to the audiences that come see us and share in our love of storytelling. We do it for you, and we appreciate everyone that's involved so much. So thank you very much. Once again, Lance Nutman for Gallery Theater Presents. Thank you, Katrina and Joseph, for joining me. And until next time, we'll see you at the theater.